Tiana Wright glided through the polished aisles of Luxe Boutique, her fingers gently brushing against the silken fabrics of designer dresses. The soft piano music floating through hidden speakers couldn't mask the tension she felt. For the third time in 5 minutes, she noticed the store clerk, a pale woman with thin lips pressed into a permanent line of disapproval, following her movements. Tiana, with her Yale law degree and 10 years of distinguished service in law enforcement, recognized the familiar weight of unwarranted suspicion. She pulled out a cashmere sweater, examining the price tag, $450. "Can I help you find something?" The clerk's voice cut through the air, sharp and cold. Not a question, but a warning. Tiana smiled politely, though her heart pounded with a familiar rhythm of frustration and resolve. "Just browsing, thank you," she replied, refusing to let her voice betray the indignity of being treated like a criminal for simply existing in an expensive store. The store manager, Mr. Harlow, emerged from his office, summoned by the clerk's discreet call. His eyes narrowed at Tiana, scanning her professional attire, tailored blazer and pencil skirt, as if searching for hidden merchandise. "Is there a problem?" Tiana asked calmly, though her pulse quickened. Security noticed something on the cameras, Mr. Harlow stated flatly, his phone already in hand, dialing. "We've called the authorities." 15 minutes later, Officer Reeves strode in, hand resting casually on his holster. Tall and broad-shouldered with cold blue eyes, he barely glanced at Tiana's identification when she presented it. "Ma'am, we have reason to believe you've concealed merchandise," he declared loudly, other shoppers turning to stare. "The manager reports seeing you place items in your bag." "That's absolutely false," Tiana responded, her voice steady despite the heat rising in her chest. "You're welcome to check my bag." Officer Reeves smirked. "We'll do that downtown." Too many incidents of evidence disappearing when checked on scene. Tiana recognized the tactic, public accusation without evidence, designed to humiliate rather than investigate. "Officer, this is clearly..." "Please place your hands behind your back," Reeves interrupted, handcuffs already out, jingling ominously in the silent store. The fluorescent lights of the boutique seemed to intensify as Officer Reeves roughly spun Tiana around, yanking her wrists behind her back. The cold metal of handcuffs bit into her skin as curious shoppers gathered, their hushed whispers and pointed fingers creating a gallery of judgment. "Officer Reeves, I'm telling you this is a mistake," Tiana stated firmly, though her voice threatened to crack. "I have identification in my wallet that you can explain downtown," he cut her off, tightening the cuffs another notch. "They all have explanations." A teenage girl raised her phone, recording the scene. The flash of recognition in Tiana's eyes, that this humiliation would potentially live forever online, caused her stomach to knot painfully. "Please listen," she attempted once more, lowering her voice. "I'm Deputy Commander Wright of the Metro PD SWAT Division. If you just call," Reeves laughed, loud enough for the growing audience to hear. "Sure you are. And I'm the police commissioner." He grabbed her elbow, steering her toward the exit. "Let's go, Commander." As they passed the perfume counter, an elderly white woman clutched her purse tighter. A security guard who had been absent during the confrontation suddenly appeared, holding the door open with an approving nod to Officer Reeves. The walk to the patrol car felt endless, each step across the parking lot a public proclamation of presumed guilt. Officer Reeves pushed Tiana through the station's double doors, parading her past the front desk with unnecessary force. The desk sergeant looked up, his bored expression shifting to confusion as he recognized something familiar in the handcuffed woman's face. "Shoplifting at Luxe Boutique," Reeves announced loudly, signing the processing form with a flourish. "Caught her red-handed trying to steal designer merchandise." Captain Elena Martinez emerged from the briefing room, coffee in hand, stopping mid-stride as her eyes locked with Tiana's. The mug slipped from her fingers, crashing to the floor, dark liquid splashing across the linoleum. "What the hell are you doing, Reeves?" Captain Martinez's voice cut through the station chatter like a blade. "Remove those cuffs immediately." "Ma'am, this suspect was..." "That suspect is Deputy Commander Tiana Wright, head of our Tactical Response Division," Martinez snapped, stepping forward. "The woman who led the Riverside hostage rescue last month." The one who received a commendation from the mayor 2 weeks ago. The color drained from Reeves' face as he fumbled with the handcuff keys. The desk sergeant stared in horrified recognition. "Commander Wright, I'm deeply sorry for this," Martinez began, her voice softening as she surveyed the furious dignity in Tiana's eyes. "Don't apologize for him," Tiana replied quietly, rubbing her wrists as the cuffs finally came off. "This isn't about a mistake. This is about a pattern." The day after her humiliating arrest, Tiana sat in her office, the blinds drawn against the curious glances of colleagues who'd heard rumors about the incident. A knock at the door revealed Sergeant Damon Wells, her most trusted team member, carrying 2 cups of coffee. "Captain Martinez approved your request for the arrest records," he said, placing a USB drive on her desk. 3 years' worth of Reeves' data. "And she's pissed about what happened." Tiana nodded, inserting the drive into her computer. "This isn't just about me, Damon. If he's doing this to a commanding officer, imagine what happens to civilians without a badge to protect them." For hours, they analyzed Reeves' arrest history, creating spreadsheets tracking demographics, charges filed, and case outcomes. Detective Zoe Franklin joined them at noon, bringing lunch and her expertise in statistical analysis. "The pattern is undeniable," Zoe announced, pointing to the screen. "Reeves has arrested black suspects at a rate 8.7 times higher than white suspects for identical reported behaviors. And look at these dismissal rates." She highlighted a column of numbers. 94% of his shoplifting cases against black women were thrown out for insufficient evidence, compared to only 22% for white suspects. Tiana leaned back, her suspicions confirmed. "We need more. Victim statements, body cam footage, everything." Over the next week, her small team grew. Officers from various precincts, disturbed by what happened to a respected commander, came forward with testimonies. IT specialists retrieved deleted body cam footage showing Reeves' confrontational approach with black suspects versus his professional demeanor with white ones. "We've got him," Damon said, closing his laptop after their final review meeting. "What's next?" Tiana stood, looking at the wall of evidence they'd compiled. "Now we make sure it never happens again, to anyone." The community center buzzed with tension as residents packed the monthly police community relations forum. Chief Douglas had reluctantly approved Tiana's request to address Officer Reeves' conduct after her legal team threatened to take the evidence public. Tiana stood at the podium, professional in her dress uniform, a USB drive in hand. 3 weeks ago, I was falsely accused, handcuffed, and paraded through a mall by Officer James Reeves," she began, her voice carrying through the hushed room. "Today isn't about my humiliation. It's about justice for every person who lacked the badge I carry." She connected her drive to the projector. Data filled the screen, arrest statistics, case dismissal rates, side-by-side body cam footage showing Reeves' drastically different treatment of suspects based on race. "Officer Reeves," she said, turning to face him where he sat, rigid and pale beside the chief. "This evidence shows a clear pattern of targeted harassment spanning 3 years." Reeves stood abruptly. "You're twisting facts to fit your narrative." "The facts speak for themselves," Tiana replied calmly, advancing to a slide showing testimonies from other officers. "And so do your colleagues." The room erupted in voices as community members stood, one after another, sharing similar experiences with Officer Reeves. 6 months after the community meeting, Tiana stood before a different crowd. This time, she wore civilian clothes and addressed the graduating class of the police academy. Officer Reeves had been suspended, then resigned before his disciplinary hearing. More importantly, the department had implemented mandatory bias training, established civilian oversight for all arrest records, and installed AI-monitored body cameras that flagged concerning interaction patterns. "True justice isn't punishment," Tiana told the fresh-faced cadets. "It's transformation. What happened to me was painful, but necessary to spark change." In the audience sat Mr. Harlow, the former store manager, now a community liaison volunteer after his own awakening. Next to him was Captain Martinez, whose unwavering support had helped heal departmental rifts. "Your badge isn't power," Tiana concluded, surveying the faces that represented the future. It's responsibility. Carry it with honor, integrity, and above all, with equal justice for everyone you serve. As applause filled the room, Tiana noticed a young black woman in the front row, eyes shining with determination and hope. The next generation of change had already begun.